Chosen one. Something happened on January 28th. Not because the world got louder, but because you got quieter in the exact moment you usually explode. It lasted seconds. No one saw it. You didn't post about it. You didn't explain it. You almost did what you always do, but you didn't. And heaven noticed. You broke a pattern that's been looping for years. You didn't argue. You didn't defend yourself. You didn't need to win the moment. You chose peace over proving your point. And that one decision just redirected the next 30 years. And if you're paying attention, you can feel it. Things feel a little lighter. Not perfect, just different. Like your spirit finally exhaled. Because what you did didn't just help your day. It activated something that will touch your life and the people around you for a long time. So if something in you already knows the shift has started, type "I receive it" in the comments and subscribe right now. Because what I'm about to tell you next is going to confirm exactly what you've been sensing. Now listen, there's a rare kind of alignment happening right now. Yes, the universe moves in patterns science can track, but only God sees how those patterns line up with what you're being prepared to receive. A miracle doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it forms quietly, like a door unlocking while you're not even looking at it. That's why January 28th matters, because this moment is timed, and the small choices you make right now are not small anymore. What looks ordinary is about to change outcomes in ways no one can measure. You may notice it as a strange clarity, a calm focus, a sudden confidence that makes no sense based on what you've been through. That's not random. That's alignment. Doors are opening before you even move. Events are lining up behind the scenes. Something new is starting, quietly, and it's going to require courage, because it's going to feel bigger than what you thought you were ready for. And let's be real, the hours before this didn't feel magical. You've been carrying heavy thoughts, walking forward but still waiting for a sign, replaying decisions, wondering if your effort mattered, wondering if God was listening. And then there were those nights, especially around midnight, when everything got silent outside and your mind got loud. That's when doubt speaks the clearest. But here's what you need to understand. The pressure wasn't punishment. It was preparation. Every delay, every moment you had to hold your tongue, every time you chose restraint instead of reaction, it built something in you that visible wins can't build. If you cried in private, that wasn't weakness. If you sat in silence, just trying to breathe, that wasn't you falling apart. That was you becoming someone who can carry what you prayed for. Because January 28th doesn't matter, because the calendar changed. It matters because you changed. And soon, you're going to start seeing confirmation. Not in a dramatic way, but in details that feel personal. Repeated numbers, the same time on the clock, a word that hits you like it was aimed at your exact situation, a message you didn't expect, a call, a song, a random conversation that answers something you never said out loud. Don't ignore those. God doesn't always shout. Sometimes He repeats. And here's the shift you're stepping into, from doubt to trust, from tension to release, from "Am I really chosen?" to knowing you are. Because God sees what people don't. He measures faithfulness, not speed. He honors the work you did in secret. You're not behind, you're right on time. So tonight, as you move through this, stay alert. Watch what repeats. Notice what accidentally finds you. Pay attention to the details that don't need explaining, because they're not for everyone. They're for you. And stay with me, because in the next part, I'm going to tell you the first 3 confirmations you'll notice when this new chapter starts moving in your favor. And the third one is the one most people miss, but it changes everything. Not everyone will notice this, but your awareness is rising. You're feeling it in flashes, a sudden calm, a sharp insight, an emotional wave that hits and then passes with meaning. That's not you being dramatic. That's proof your alignment is real. And now, even the simplest things carry weight. A conversation that ends sooner than expected. An email that arrives with the exact piece of information you needed. A coincidence that feels too precise to be random. These aren't distractions, they're invitations. Invitations to trust your path and to accept change the way real change happens, quietly but powerfully. Because your attention is a compass. What you focus on responds. Your prayers have influence. Your thoughts send waves. And the reason miracles feel closer right now is because you're finally positioned to recognize them and receive them faster than before. This is bigger than luck. It's preparation and reward in the same moment. Every small step, every intentional decision, every time you chose the higher road when no one was watching, it all contributed to this. So over the next few hours, watch what begins to line up. Watch how opportunities appear in places you didn't expect. Not because you chased them, but because you're ready for them. And listen closely. This is not the moment to rush. This is the moment to recognize what's happening. Your life is coming into alignment. The timing, the coincidences, the clarity, the prayers being answered, it's all marking a turn. Your obedience and your focus unlocked hidden alignments. The shift is subtle, but it's strong enough to touch your present and reshape your future. You're not watching a miracle from the outside, you're inside it. What used to feel delayed, now it fits perfectly. What used to feel uncertain, now it has direction. And this is the season where trust isn't a risk anymore. It's a response to what's already working in your favor. There's protection around you that doesn't fade. It's not temporary, it's not emotional hype. It's steady, intentional, established on purpose. And that's why what you've been feeling lately isn't your imagination. It's your consciousness expanding. Your thoughts feel stronger. Your choices feel less forced. You're starting to recognize the strength in patience and the power in waiting. This is surrender without loss, trust without fear. You don't have to fight for control anymore. Help is arriving in ways you don't have to manage. Doors don't need to be forced. Answers show up in simple moments, in someone else's words, in a thought that lands with certainty, in a situation that suddenly makes sense. You're not running after direction anymore. It's finding you. And there's something else happening behind the scenes. Plans that used to target your weak spots, they don't work anymore. What tried to distract you, lost access. What tried to delay you, lost permission. That's not good timing. That's alignment earned through perseverance. And the authority you're stepping into now isn't for attention. It's not for show. It's to influence. Your words land differently now. Your presence carries weight. Situations respond with less resistance. You're noticing respect where there used to be none. Peace replaced pressure. Not the kind that disappears the second life gets hard. The kind that stays while you move. You're not stuck. You're steady. And because of that, progress is starting to feel natural. Not forced, not desperate, not rushed. That's how real growth feels. Trust is becoming easier because proof is showing up around you. Small confirmations, unexpected openings, different reactions from people, opportunities appearing mid-path. And here's the key. You don't need the whole map. Clarity is coming in pieces, exactly the amount you need exactly when you need it. Guidance that's precise without overwhelming you. Direction that feels safe. So let this land. You are not being ignored. You are not being forgotten. Support is active. Protection is present. Favor is moving quietly, but firmly. Stop feeling like you have to explain your progress to anyone. Validation comes later. Results speak louder than speeches. Nothing is being taken from you. Only what no longer serves you is dissolving. And what's ahead of you doesn't require force. It responds to readiness, and readiness is already here. Stay open, stay steady. What happens next will confirm what you already feel, because it started like an ordinary moment, but something invisible shifted inside you. The world looked the same, but your inner vision changed. Certainty moved in where doubt used to live. What felt confusing began to get clear. What felt heavy started lifting. Not in a way you can explain, but in a way your spirit recognizes immediately. Your thoughts slowed down. The constant mental noise eased, and there was a pause. A quiet in your mind that felt full of meaning. And in that pause, understanding arrived like a gift you didn't even realize you'd been waiting for. Suddenly, memories made sense. Choices made sense. Detours made sense. Everything that brought you here stopped looking like wasted time and started looking like a foundation. And yes, January 28th matters. Not because it's a special date on paper, but because it's the moment your energy started touching the timeline of your life in a way that will become obvious later. Confirmations began appearing without warning. Conversations carried weight. Insights arrived at the exact right time. People responded to you differently, in words, in gestures, even in the way they looked at you. Doors that used to feel locked started opening with less effort. Opportunities that felt distant began to move closer, naturally. No striving, just recognition. Something inside you expanded, not physical, not something you can point to, but the certainty that things have changed. Old fears that felt permanent started losing their grip. In their place came a quiet confidence that grows second by second. You realized you could be present without defending yourself, without bracing for impact, just open to what's in front of you now. Your mind tried to label it, but your heart already knew. A new rhythm has started. Thought aligned with intention. Intention aligned with action. Action aligned with the invisible support that has been there the whole time. And here's the truth most people miss. Nothing about your steps has been random. None of your choices were insignificant. Every hesitation, every attempt, every moment you doubted yourself was necessary for this moment to arrive. Even time feels different now. Hours pass, but meaning stretches inside you. Struggles don't look like failures anymore. They look like training. Moments you thought were wasted, they were building the base. Your inner sight is getting so clear you can see connections you couldn't see before. Things that confused you are revealing a purpose that feels like destiny. And now, even ordinary moments feel like messages. A stranger's smile, a sentence you overhear, a song playing at the exact right time. The world didn't change. You did. You found power in quiet, not control, not force, but the strength of recognizing that who you've become matters. The weight of the old fight is lifting because understanding replaced it. The fear of moving forward is fading because intuition is guiding you now. Your inner world and outer reality are starting to match. And when that happens, doubt gets quieter, direction gets louder, and what used to pull you backward loses its grip. So stay with me, because next, I'm going to share the one sign that proves this alignment is real. The sign that shows up right before the breakthrough. And if you catch it in time, it accelerates everything. Everything from the past few years, the mistakes, the near wins, the almosts. It all brought you to this exact point. And when the shift hit, it felt like stepping onto solid ground after drifting for too long. Not comfort, clarity, not hype, understanding, not arrogance, authority. You didn't get lucky. You recognized something, and that recognition was the moment you stopped feeling lost. Because the stability that arrived wasn't a soft blanket. It was a sudden knowing. I'm not off track. I'm being positioned. Not a voice, not a figure, just a force of alignment that confirmed your direction from the inside out. And here's how you know it was real. The decisions you used to overthink, they started feeling obvious. The actions you kept avoiding, they started feeling natural. Not because life got easier, but because you stopped fighting what was already prepared for you. Old patterns of indecision started dissolving. The distractions that used to pull you lost their grip. Where you once hesitated, you moved. Where you once doubted, you understood. And you recognized the turning point not by what you saw, but by what you could no longer deny inside yourself. A certainty so clear it didn't need proof. And then everything around you started agreeing with it. People began acting in ways that finally made sense. Opportunities didn't feel forced. They appeared. Your intuition didn't feel like a gamble. It felt like guidance. And the craziest part? It all lined up without warning. Yet it felt like it had been building forever. That's because in a true turning point, the past, the present, and the future overlap. Your old choices meet your current readiness. And suddenly, what used to feel impossible becomes available. This wasn't random. This wasn't one good day. This was a convergence, preparation, timing, readiness, alignment. And once that locks in, something changes. Your confidence stops being fragile. It stops being mood-based. It becomes built, constructed, out of understanding. You no longer need control. You only need acceptance and action when it's time. Because anxiety about the outcome gets replaced by trust in the timing. Confusion gets replaced by awareness. Fear gets replaced by comprehension. And even though the transformation happened entirely inside you, it projected outward. Conversations carried weight. Opportunities showed up without you asking. Doors opened without you forcing. And people noticed subtle shifts you didn't have to announce. Your presence became your authority. And when you look back, you'll realize something that will change how you see your whole life. The things you thought were insignificant, they were monumental. The patience you showed, the times you didn't react, the choices to keep going, to wait, to walk away, to hold your peace. All of it converged into this. And from that moment forward, ordinary days started carrying potential. Small actions started carrying resonance. Even simple decisions started having impact. Because what used to be preparation became opportunity. And what used to be readiness became activation. And that's why you didn't need outside proof. The proof was inside you. You felt it as confidence, as serenity, as clarity, not because life stopped challenging you, but because your response changed. And that's how you know it's permanent. It isn't based on events. It's based on internal understanding. And yes, January 28th matters for a reason, because it represents that collision point, where preparation and readiness meet opportunity. Not random, not accidental. Every experience, every challenge, every hesitation led you to a precise alignment. From that point, hesitation started losing power. Doubt started losing volume. Action became guided by understanding, not fear, not impulse, not survival mode. And then life responded differently, not with chaos, but with balance, not with confusion, but with direction. Because your awareness started revealing what used to be invisible, meaning in ordinary moments, direction in casual words, lessons in simple situations. And when you can see like that, you stop forcing outcomes. Alignment produces results naturally. Authority rises quietly. But it's undeniable. You crossed a threshold, a line you didn't even realize existed. The doubts that used to run your decisions for years, they don't get to drive anymore, because the internal system is finally in place. Timing, decision, readiness, understanding. And here's the truth. This turning point wasn't one single action. It was the moment everything you built in private finally met the opportunity that was waiting in public. Your perseverance, your attention to what mattered, your willingness to grow without applause. It produced a lasting shift, subtle but complete. And the calm you feel now? It doesn't need validation. It doesn't need an announcement. It doesn't need explanation, because life is responding to alignment, not just effort. And you're seeing it ripple outward. Relationships react differently. Work opportunities shift. Connections respond without you pushing. Your centered presence becomes a catalyst for cooperation. Not because you're trying to influence people, but because your energy is no longer begging for approval. This is the turning point, the place where patience becomes tangible, where perseverance becomes visible, where alignment becomes undeniable. And it's only the beginning, because the inner transformation may be complete, but the outer unfolding is just starting. Signs will keep appearing, opportunities will keep surfacing, clarity will keep coming, naturally. And you won't have to chase results anymore. Results will meet you, not because you forced them, but because you crossed into a place where readiness meets opportunity, where understanding guides action, and where internal alignment produces external outcomes without struggle. This isn't temporary. This is permanent. What shifted inside you is now shaping the way your reality unfolds. And from this point forward, the right timing and deeper awareness will keep aligning influence, opportunity, and guidance with what you can actually carry. Every step you take now is connected to what's already been prepared for you, and you can feel it, even if you can't explain it yet. Every decision you make from here reflects a new kind of inner clarity. The turning point already happened, and what begins now is a level of influence that matches your readiness. So take a second and let yourself feel what changed. Because on January 28th, something opened, not outside of you, inside of you, not as an idea, not as motivation, as a real, steady movement in your life. And that movement is asking you to do something most people don't know how to do. Pause, observe, trust. Rest doesn't mean quitting. Rest means allowing your mind and your heart to catch up to what already shifted. Your energy has been redirected in ways you might not fully understand yet, and that's okay. Let yourself sink into the calm that follows an impact. Let your inner world adjust to the new rhythm of what's possible now. You're going to start noticing what truly matters, because your awareness is sharper and your discernment is deeper. And the actions you take today and this week will reflect that alignment. So don't rush, don't force, don't panic move. This is about letting the miracle of timing work with you instead of against you. Keep your focus on what feels right, not what feels urgent. Choices that honor your spirit will produce results that make sense later. Even the smallest decisions carry influence right now in ways you can't measure yet. So trust this. The spiritual atmosphere around you is responding to your openness, to your patience, to your willingness to align with what is meant for you. And now, you're seeing the world through a different lens. Your perspective is clearer. Your inner vision is stronger. Things that used to feel ordinary now carry massive potential. Conversations will shift. Opportunities will surface. Connections will respond. Not because you're pushing, but because your energy has changed. You're in sync with a rhythm that can't be forced. It can only be respected. So give yourself space for stillness and observation. Notice what feels balanced. Notice what feels aligned. Watch how this shift begins to show up in practical ways, quietly, subtly, but undeniably. Because your focus, your clarity, your attention, that's part of the spiritual work holding this new chapter up. And remember, miracles happen even when they don't look dramatic. Sometimes the miracle is peace. Sometimes the miracle is clarity. Sometimes the miracle is that you don't feel pulled back into old patterns anymore. And what began on January 28th is still unfolding behind the scenes, guiding your steps and creating openings that weren't accessible before. So move with confidence, not strain. Stay present. Stay alert. Stay in tune with the invisible support surrounding you, because you're already in motion now. And the days ahead are ready to respond to the choices you make from this aligned place. Your path is stable now. Your steps carry weight now. The shift prepared the ground. So tonight, take a deep pause and let the truth settle. You were chosen, not by accident, not by circumstance, but because of who you're becoming. Every step, every choice, every moment you thought no one noticed, it was seen, it mattered, and you're being supported in ways you can't even measure. Your life is quietly moving toward what you were meant to experience, and you don't have to prove anything to anyone. You don't have to fight like you used to. You don't have to force what God is already arranging. Let go of the need to control the future. Trust that what has been set in motion will unfold in divine timing. Your patience and your faith are instruments, and invisible forces are using them to move things in your favor. Carry that certainty into the next few days. Let it guide your thoughts. Let it guide your choices. Let it guide your energy. You are not alone, and you are not unprepared. Every challenge, every hesitation, every victory brought you to this alignment. So let this message settle into your mind and your heart. And as you step into tomorrow, remember, you are chosen. You are protected. You are guided. If this touched your spirit, type "I received it" in the comments and share this with someone who needs this message today. Because what God is doing in you is meant to spread beyond you, bringing hope and alignment to those who are ready to receive.